All right, so the Dallas Cowboys in desperate need of making some type of move into free agency, and one of my guys that I would like for the Cowboys to go obtain would be Javon Kinlaw. He's 6'5", about 325, and he had over 30 pressures last season and 5 sacks. And I believe that White Cotton was his D-line coach, and he will be his D-line coach over here in Cowboys land. And I think that the Cowboys should figure out a way to obtain this particular guy in the free agency. I think that we need help inside, and even if you bring him in only for a cup of coffee to be a rotational piece, he's a former first-round grade player, So you bring him into the mix and everything can work his way out. Did I mention that he had 2 forced fumbles as well and a fumble recovery? So I'm looking at maybe, just maybe, when you look at Javon Kinlaw, you can say that he's one of the interior guys that developed and improved his game over the course of the year. The last season that he had with the 49ers, he even ended that season with 3.5 sacks. And that's a lot from an interior guy. And I guess, you can look back at this situation and say, well, Law, he's a bust, he's blah, blah, blah. But he could be hitting his peak right about now. It's not like this guy is a long in the tooth. He's around 26, 27 years of age. That's really right at the right time. And you bring him in to be inserted with this particular pass rush that Matt Eberflus like to exhibit and exude, which will be one gap, shoot upfield, get to the quarterback, don't play around with your food. And by the way, on your way to the quarterback, if it's a run, then you stop the run. So that's how you got to look at Javon Kinlaw. And I'm thinking that the Cowboys should run in the free agency and scoop up a Kinlaw because you need aggressive guys. And if you look at Matt Eberflus' type and kind of caliber of style of defense, he fits right on in. And I think that this could be a good situation for everyone. And it won't be very pricey. His market value is anywhere between $3.5 to $7 million. So you can work that out, and you can find money under the couch. You got to restructure some contracts, of course. But let's listen to one of the announcers and analysts speaking of Javon Kinlaw.
Javon Kinlaw. He was a personal favorite of mine when he was here. I think most Niner fans would view him as kind of a bust, but the Jets were looking at the number 25th ranked run D and said, man, we need some heft in the middle, and they brought him in this summer. How's he fitting in?
Yeah, he looks really good. He's healthy, which is number one for him. He's had so many injury issues in his career, as you know, but he gained 30 pounds, and he said it was by design. He wanted to add more strength. My radar went off right away. It's like when a guy that big adds 30 pounds, especially a guy with a history of knee issues, you always wonder how are his joints going to hold up. But he looked really good in training camp. I don't think he missed a practice in training camp. He was out there every day. The Jets feel like they really found something in Kinlaw, and they think he'll be unlocked in this particular scheme that they're going to use. And like you said, a bigger run defender. He will add maybe a little girth, some wide body run stuffing ability in the middle of that line.
No doubt, girth and wide body in that line. That's what you need. Sometimes it's not about the length, it's about the girth. You got to tear down the walls and get inside. And when he's able to do that, it's exhibited and exuded because he had, literally. When you look at the things as far as what he was able to bring, you can clearly see that this brother fall right on into the right perfect system. Like I said, 2 forced fumbles, 5 sacks, and on top of that, 27 solos and 7 assists. As an interior guy, those are things over 21 hurries, 24 stops. Man, that's something that you would like to bring to the table. I think that the Cowboys should run to this thing and say, hey, we got Kinlaw here. It will be a no-brainer. It will be a situation and scenario that is not very, very healthy of a money situation because we always talking about the money and the bargain bin and all this and all of that. Go and get a Kinlaw. Go and make sure you get somebody that, and this is someone else that spoke upon his weight and what they thought about him. But before we go any further, be sure to hit that like button, share this content if you like what you're hearing so far, and subscribe to the Law Nation Sports Show. Let's get it.
We get a chance to see
Brendel and Kinlaw potentially lock horns, and Kinlaw supposedly put on 30 pounds. What kind of a challenge is that going to be for Jake to anchor against a guy like that?
Great challenge. We get challenges every week, and Javon's another great guy, great player. Loved our time with him here. We really respect him and the job that he does. It's going to be a great challenge for whoever has to block the guy. He can be as dominant a defensive lineman as we see, and from what we've heard, he's having a great camp and is ready to go. So obviously, we got a great challenge ahead of us.
No doubt. So the challenge is the challenge. Here's my thoughts on all of this, ladies and gentlemen. He's hungry. He got a PhD, poor, hungry, and determined. And let's not make this moment one where we overlook Cowboy Nation. We've been looking for an interior guy. I know he had some bad injuries and it set him back. But that's the only thing that you can really say, in his last season with the Niners. He was on pace to having, 4 sacks there. He had 3.5 or a little bit more. And he just had one hell of a season with the Jets. And he got the Jets D-line coach here. Makes too much sense, right? Cowboy Nation, post me your thoughts. Post me what you would do. Because before we get any traction going, before we head into the draft, I would like for the Cowboys to dance around in free agency. I would like for the Cowboys to move some money around so that we can make some perfect strides and get things going the best way possible, Cowboy Nation. It's all about heart and determination. And when you have those things and you have those outputs put all into place, you get an unbelievable approach to it. Cowboy Nation, all I'm going to say is this right here. Let's not overanalyze. Let's not overthink this out. But when you get someone that you can match up with your interior and get penetration, remember they talked about girth, size, and his speed, and he put on that 20 to 35 pounds. And you look at all of those things and you say, what would this benefit? Well, someone like Kinlaw would benefit a Michael Parsons, and someone like Kinlaw will also benefit your linebackers. And there's another linebacker that I want the Cowboys to take a real good look at, and that's Dre Greenlaw. Let's bring in all of the laws. Carl Lawson, he's coming back. So it could be a team of laws, right? And let's get this going the best way possible. If the Cowboys pull this off, Nick Chubb, he is only market valued at $3.5 million or something like that. I think it's $3.3 million is market value. The Cowboys literally can pull this off with a Nick Chubb, Javon Kinlaw, and a Greenlaw. Yeah. Dre Greenlaw, Javon Kinlaw, and a Nick Chubb this offseason. And that will at least put something on your stomach before you go into the draft. The ideology is to make sure you make moves before you go to the draft. You don't want to go to the draft on an empty stomach, just like you don't want to go shopping on an empty stomach, right? So you want to put something on it. That's all I'm saying. And I'm not saying that Nick Chubb will be a world beater here. I'm not saying that Javon Kinlaw will be a world beater here, or a Dre Greenlaw. But this will be pieces that you can identify with and say, okay, when we go into the draft, if things don't fall the way we need it to be, at least we have X, Y, and Z things to fall upon. And the Cowboys, using leverage, we don't do that well here. We don't. So post me your thoughts, post me your concerns down below, Cowboy Nation. We absolutely need to dance around in the free agency. And give me your top 3 or your top 5 free agent guys that you would like to take a look at from the Jerry Jones's perspective and from yours. Because we know They like to shop for less, right? That's just their calling card. They can't help themselves. DC for life, not for short. That's been my time. I really thank you all for yours. And remember, you're listening to nothing but the best. Go Cowboys. We out. Peace. Mm-hmm.